Hi, everyone. How are we? Welcome in. On March the 26th, which is, I think, next Wednesday, they're going to have the arraignment for Kimberly Sullivan in the man held captive in Connecticut. So we're going to be live streaming that. I'm pretty certain that's going to be streamed because this case is all over the place. But what I wanted to talk about today was a couple of things that I've found since I did my last video. So I thought we'd dive a little bit deeper here. Many have asked about the biological mother of the victim, and it looks like she has spoken out or she has talked to somebody. So I think this was reported first by the New York Post, and it says the biological mom of Connecticut House of Horrors victim refuses to explain why she didn't save her son from decades of torture. This was written on March the 15th by Dana Kennedy. The traumatized biological mother of the emaciated man allegedly held captive by his stepmother in Connecticut for 20 years claimed her son has never been forgotten. She said, "We all are trying to come to grips with this horror that my son had to endure." She's 52 years old, resident of Connecticut, told the Post Saturday that proper feelings are just too hard to take in right now, and this is also including the father's side of the family. I didn't understand that comment. The woman came outside of her home wearing a gray hoodie and spoke briefly to nearby workers who were removing neighborhood Christmas tree lights, did not answer directly when she was asked why she had not saved her son. He has family who love him so much and has never been forgotten about, she said. She's asked for her name to be withheld. She said he should have never been put through this horror. We wish for our privacy at this time to start the healing process for everyone. This is a difficult time for all of his family, and we need to start the healing. My son is the biggest thing. We need to make sure his healing is as best as it can be. Now, the victim, who is now 32, and remember when I said there was contradiction between his age? It's because his birthday is this month. So originally people were reporting, yeah, he's age 31, because at the time that this occurred, he was 31. He's since turned 32. It does say his parents were married in 1992, but by January of 95, the couple had split, and the dad, Craig, which is the Craig that I found the obit on earlier, but I don't think it's a legitimate obit, had remarried a woman named Kimberly Sullivan, and Craig died in January of 2004. As we had previously reported, Kurt Sullivan, the victim's uncle, said that he has not seen his nephew for over 20 years, and after his sister-in-law reportedly pushed him and other relatives away for asking too many questions. The victim's two younger sisters worked nearby. One of the siblings reportedly lived with her parents for a time in the Waterbury home. They could not be reached for comment. These sisters have been like MIA. I have mixed feelings about this because if this woman is as stern as she seems to be, where she can control the whole family like this, the daughters were probably scared of her. They probably did not want to talk against their mother. So they're saying that after Craig died, the captivity grew more restrictive and he was locked in his room 22 to 24 hours a day. That was from the police report we read the other night. So this image right here is them putting him in the paramedics. We're going to watch this body cam footage. It came out over the weekend. It's really hard to see him, and they have his face blurred, but you can kind of get an idea. I tried to slow it down and replay it and slow it down and replay it. It's just seconds that you see him walk past the camera. Well, he's not walked, but he's carried past the camera when the firemen were pulling him out. Got a couple of articles here that I'm going to pull up and talk about. See if we can learn anything new from what we already know. Newly released body cam footage shows the moment a woman was rescued from a house fire in Connecticut alongside her stepson, who she is accused of holding captive for 20 years. Fire department approaches her in the footage, and it was released by WFBS Connecticut News. Jeez, it's loud. Okay, I jumped when I put it on. It was so loud. Hang on. Let's change the... Whew. I wasn't ready for that. Okay, again, this is quick. So...
Come over here. Go down the road. Come on. Come down. Come down. Who else is in the house? Who else is in here?
My stepson is in here.
How many other people?
Listen, that's it. I have 2 cats.
Everybody's out?
Yeah.
But your stepson's still inside?
Yeah, he's right here.
Okay,
yes.
Come out. Come down the road. Come on. Come on. It's not safe to stay here. Come on.
All right, here he is. All right, my dog is shaking.
I know. Come down here. That's true. 87 code 3 victim. Fire victim.
Okay.
Come on.
My dog is
here.
I know my dog.
I know. Come on.
I'm coming.
You're seeing it. Got one victim right here. I need to stay over here. No.
So as you'll see, you really can't see him because they're blocking him. But I want to do this. I'm going to put it on slow mode.
Here he is. All right, my dog is shaking.
I know. Come down here. That's true. 87 code 3 victim.
And I'm going to turn the volume off because it'll sound so funky. And remember, he's tall. He's like almost 6 foot, right? The victim. Okay, so you could see him. It's blurred. Hang on. So he's got him by the chest, carrying him out. It's really hard to tell, though, as far as his size. But yeah, that was that piece of it. I wanted to also bring up that there's been a GoFundMe set up, and it's by Safe Haven, Connecticut. Now, I'm really funny about GoFundMes, you guys. I just feel like people set them up for the wrong reasons. And then also, there's a lot of scams going on with GoFundMes too that just make me really nervous. But this was set up by Safe Haven of Connecticut. And I saw the person that runs the group on an interview. And she said, we are a domestic violence organization. We normally help people that, are coming out of a bad situation like this. And it was kind of a different situation for what was going on with this particular person. But we wanted to do whatever we could to help legal advocacy for survivors of violence. And they're out of Southbury, Connecticut. And there's also, there's a thrift store. And then there's the mailing address is out of Waterbury. So they're right there in that town. So I totally get why they did that. So hang on, I'm going to try to find the GoFundMe. I thought I had it. Because one of my first thoughts was, how can we support them? And I kind of thought other people might have also wanted to support in some way. Make sure this is the right one. It is. Okay, I'm going to share this with you guys. Now, I'm not asking you to support. I'm showing you this for an informational purposes only. If you want to support, that is completely up to you. I am not saying that this is a legitimate GoFundMe. I'm just telling you the information that I found on this GoFundMe. I just want to be really careful about that, right? It says that the first thing I did was I looked and I saw it says that this is the organizer, the Safe Haven of Greater Waterbury that we just discussed. That's what this says right here. They've raised over $88,674, and there's been 1.5K donations. Their goal was 90,000. They're 99% reached it. And it says, we are reaching out to help a Connecticut man who endured unimaginable hardship for 20 years. He was held captive in a room, subjected to abuse, starvation, and neglect. He was rescued last month after courageously setting a fire to gain his freedom. This brave individual, now at the age of 32, is 5'9", 68 pounds, had been trapped in this horrific situation since he was just 11 years old. He has been deprived of basic medical and dental care education, suffering both physically and mentally from the abuse he had endured. With the help of the first responders, he was rescued from the fire, treated for smoke inhalation, and began to regain his sense of hope. Now he is facing the immense challenge of rebuilding his life after such a tragic experience. Now, here's our saying how your donations will help. The funds raised will go toward providing the following for the victim: medical and dental care, counseling and therapy for physical and emotional recovery, housing and daily living expenses as he rebuilds his independence, support for legal fees, ensuring that he can pursue justice for the abuse he suffered. Every donation, no matter how small, will help give the survivor a chance to heal, rebuild, and find peace. It says this GoFundMe is managed by Safe Haven of Greater Waterbury, and all funds will go directly to the victim. Safe Haven of Greater Waterbury is a nonprofit 501c3. It has been providing confidential support to victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse since 1978. They made an update on March the 14th that said, "We are so overwhelmed by the outpouring of support from the community. We far surpassed what we thought we could, and we are grateful that you have opened your hearts to this individual. We will keep updating you as we go over the next few days. If we can ask you all to continue to share, and he will most likely have a lengthy journey ahead." My first thought on this was how, helping him get him some regular clothes, first of all, that fit him, and go take him out for a steak dinner, or bring him a steak dinner, something like that. And then what I'm understanding is that because he was deprived of food for so long, that you can't just go in and start gorging on food. It literally could unalive him if he did that. So what he's doing, he's having to go through not only this emotional, and this is kind of this happens to all victims like this. So it's good for us to understand all of this. He's got to go through the emotional support system, tons of therapy. Meanwhile, they're still overseeing him medically. He's subject to so many diseases and everything else. I mean, his immune system is just broken down, right? So they've got to build his immune system up and slowly but surely get him back to eating and getting healthy and normal. I have no idea how long that would take, but it sounds like he's in the hands of the right people right now. And he does have family around him. From reading that article with the mom, I have no idea what's going to happen there. The bio mom. The sheriff's department had said that she hasn't been in his life since he was 2 years old. Sheriff's department also said that the school lied about contacting them, and we know that that's BS. I don't know who to believe on that. I'm not going to go over the arrest warrant because we've already done all that. So her defense is that it wasn't her that did all this. It was her husband, the one that was in the wheelchair. That's all we know. We know he died in January of 2024. We know he came from a family of many siblings. He had several brothers and sisters. The father did. And we know that he and Kimberly Sullivan had 2 twin daughters together. But prior to that, he had the victim with another woman. So coming into the marriage, he was literally he was the outsider. That's what it sounds like to me. Like she treated him always like he was an outsider. You guys, I can totally see this. Too many times this happens and people don't hear about it. I'm not going to say that I was a victim of this as that badly, but I was treated, my sister and I had, I'm not saying, oh, woe is me. I'm just giving you an example. We were treated differently by our stepmother. Just kind of, she was jealous of us. She was jealous of our mother. She would say things to my sister and I every now and then, like for instance, I was working, her kids weren't working, but I was working, and my dad helped me get a car so that I could continue to work. And trust me, it was a beat up car. It was a used car. And it was like the payments were like $30 a month. It was like really tiny thing. And it might've been like $30 to $100 a month or something. I think I was 16 or 17 years old. Again, I was working. And she made a comment about how she couldn't go get new shoes for a one-time Mardi Gras ball because somebody got a car. So my dad had put like a small down payment down for me. My dad helped me get a car. There's nothing wrong with that. He didn't give me a brand new car. He got me a used car. He got me this big, huge, y'all. It was a Ford Fairmont. It was freaking huge. because he didn't want me to be in a small car for my safety. But anyway, she treated me differently for that. I remember one time at Christmas, we'd have to spend Christmas with mom, and then we'd go over and spend Christmas with dad, and we'd always have to, hang out with her because she was there with him. And my sister bought them an answering machine. That was before cell phones, and we didn't have any way to like leave dad a message or anything. She said as soon as she opened it, she goes, "Oh, I'm not having an answering machine in my house." She said, "If I'm not here to answer the phone, then you'll just have to wait till I get back." Something like that. And it hurt my sister's feelings. That pissed me off more than her making the comment about the shoes in my car, because now you're going after my sister, and now it's on, So did not have a good relationship with her. But my point is, before I get too far off this, is that we were treated differently. And I think that happens a lot when you have a family that's blended like that, where there's already relationships established, children outside of it. And it's not talked about a lot because I guess it's just not bad enough. It has had emotional effects on me in different ways. I don't say that I'm traumatized by it, but I think about it a lot still to this day. So I can imagine that there's a lot of therapy that goes towards people that are in this situation. I cannot imagine the people that get in these types of situations to where this stepmother is controlling them like this. Like, we had a mom, so we could go to mom's house and we would just go visit dad when we had to. We didn't, we could leave. This guy couldn't leave. There's other situations where kids are stuck with a stepmonster who's constantly berating them, just maybe it's just verbal abuse, but it happens way too often. And I guess it could be flipped around the other way too. You could have the same with a dad, a stepdad. So yeah, but I want to know more about the daughters, and I know that they're adults, so I don't know why I'm confused as to how they've been kept out of everything. I thought by now, at some point, there's going to be a media outlet that hunts them down and gets at least stands outside their front door and does some kind of news report or something on them, But I haven't seen anything. Now we're getting in. This is a Connecticut Post article. I think I'd already mentioned to you guys in this last video that I felt like this house wasn't that well taken care of. It looks okay, but it, obviously they don't do anything with the yard, but this might be, not every neighborhood has landscape, or people that want to get outside and plant flowers and stuff. Not everybody does that. And this seems to be one of those areas where that would be impossible anyway because it snows. But to me, this house just kind of looks a little, not even before the window damage, because there's boards on the windows because of the fire, you guys. That wasn't before. Those aren't from before. Before, it mentions in one of the things that I read that there were, I think it's hurricane style windows on there. You can't break them. They're hard to break. So, but the boards were put on after the fire. Like it probably could use a handyman to clean it up a little bit. And I looked at this one compared to the house next door to it, and the house next door looks newer, more vibrant. So for me, looking at this, I'm just thinking, okay, this is telling to me that there's something. Either you've got an elderly person living in there who can't take care of their home, or there's something there. I think that, they say you can tell a lot about somebody from the outside on how they represent or how they present themselves. Could that be the same when you look at someone's home? Now, I am not one to judge, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to get out and plant flowers. I am not going to do it. My sister will do it all day long, not me. You guys, everything I've ever planted has died, and it just doesn't work for me. And I can't afford to have a landscaper do my yard. So I'm one of those that's not going to have landscaping. I might have some bushes that you plant one time, you water them, and then all of a sudden they take care of themselves and you just have to trim them up every now and then. That would be me. I'd be that neighbor. As far as like taking care of the house, if the house is starting to look run down, is that a sign that something's going on? I think it could be. I don't know. I mean, it could be money. It could be all kinds of things. I'm kind of getting off on the subject here. I'm getting off topic. Let me read this article. They've got the 911. Did we listen to the 911 call? Let me see if I got it. Oh, here's the 911 call. Did we listen to I don't think we listened to this. All right, y'all ready?
Oh my God. 2 Blake Street.
What's the address?
Please hurry. It's 2 Blake Street. There's a fire.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Blake
There's
Street?
a fire. I'm trying to.
Ma'am, what's
2
on
Blake
fire?
Street. The TV. I don't know. My son, his stepson is in his room, and I don't know. He did something with the TV. I was
Is there
asleep.
see flames or smoke?
Yes. Come on, Steph. Come on.
Okay, can you get
Yes, we need an ambulance, please.
Okay,
Please, we need an ambulance.
ma'am, all right, you said something's on fire and now you need an ambulance. What's going on there?
Yes, his room. The TV in his room.
Did he get injured? Is he on fire?
Yes, he's injured. Please send the ambulance.
Ma'am, I'm going to send the ambulance. I need to know what's going on and why they're going out there.
Come on.
Where is he injured?
I don't know. He's kind of, I don't know. He's kind of passed out. He's out of it. Please.
Okay, what's your phone number just in case we need to give you a call back? Okay, is the fire out, ma'am?
No, it's not. Please. I'm trying to.
I understand, ma'am. I'm trying to get information on what's going on there.
Oh my God! It's like all the power in the house is out. I don't know if it blew a fuse.
Okay, ma'am, just get out of the house, okay?
Yes, I'm gonna call my daughter.
All right.
Oh my God.
I don't blame her for taking her dogs out of the house too, though, you guys. I really don't. It looks like everybody's got this video now up from That's CT Insider is the name of the website that's getting a lot of information. I want to make sure I give them credit for this. Are you guys surprised that she said her stepson he needs help too? I guess in the moment she was just like, oh my gosh, get him out of the house. I guess at that moment, well, first of all, I think she was woken up. So she's probably like freaking out. But she was also worried about her cats too. Back to this article where they're talking about the secrecy of her. So remember, she's facing second-degree kidnapping and intentional cruelty to a person. I think there's even more charges than that, actually. Well, I'll show you guys this really quick that I have. Here's the docket on her. So you've got assault, first-degree assault, second-degree kidnapping, first-degree unlawful restraint, cruelty to persons, and first-degree reckless endangerment. The last two are just misdemeanors, and the first two are a felony. It is kind of interesting, though. She wasn't arrested until March the 7th, and this occurred on the 18th, but I guess it took them time. They had to interview him, and they had to find out what was going on because they were still not sure. This is from VineLink, and it says order type, protective order, family violent. Oh, wait, no. This was after she was arrested. They issued a protective order against the victim. Maybe this is why it took so long to get her up for a bail hearing, because they had to get this protective order in place for the victim. So I guess they had to get all this in place. I honestly had not even thought about that until I saw this. Now she's going back to court next Wednesday. Again, we're going to be streaming that. It says little was known about her and Craig, and that the victim lived with them a majority of his life. And it says that court records, however, paint a picture of financial hardship. The couple filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy separately within a 5-year span, citing insurmountable debt from credit card obligations to major lenders. And then it says that the family's financial strain also included first and second mortgages on the house. You know what? It could be, I have a feeling, if he was in a wheelchair, this might have something to do with him being able to work. Okay, so police have said that he died last year, the father. But despite his longstanding job as a shipper at a local company, he worked for GEM Manufacturing. The couple struggled to keep up with their expenses. Court documents indicate that Kimberly Sullivan had also filed for bankruptcy separately in an earlier case. So at the arraignment on Wednesday, the bail commissioner reported her only current income was from welfare and her only work experience was in retail. So the dad basically, it sounds like more or less the dad supported the family. Though the victim was no longer in school, financial records show the household continue reporting $450 in monthly tuition payments, presumably for the couple's two daughters. I can't remember if I reported on this or not, but yeah, her two daughters were in private school. So $450 a month in monthly tuition payments. It's really not that much, honestly. A month? 450 a month? Is that a lot? That doesn't sound like a lot, does it? It says along with $180 per month spent on cigarettes and $80 allocated to their pets, which included a dog, cats, and a ferret. Here's an overview of the house from above. Craig's brother has said he hadn't seen the victim since 2004 or 2005. That was the same time in 2005, I believe, is when he was pulled out of school. In the early years, Craig Sullivan's brother recalled celebrating Christmas Eve with the family, but those visits abruptly stopped. He recalled to police that the victim, a boy at the time, was always skinny, meek, and mild mannered. He suspected something was wrong. Attempts to ask questions were reportedly interrupted by Kimberly Sullivan, according to the warrant for her arrest. Craig Sullivan's brother and his wife eventually just stopped receiving responses when they tried to reach out. A decade ago, Craig Sullivan's brother's concern deepened. He consulted a private investigator who suggested searching public records for a death certificate, but there was none. So it looks like they tried to do something, but they didn't really. I don't know. What can you do? Maybe there were legal restraints that didn't allow them to fully investigate this. And that's all that says about their hardships. Again, the attorney is saying that it's the dad. The dad is the cause of all this.
We spoke with a woman who says she spent 4 years of elementary school with the victim. She recalls that time. She thought when he moved away, he just moved to another town. She was shocked to find out what really happened.
A lot of us went to Chase Park, right across from where he lived, and you wouldn't think that just a street over there was a kid locked in a room.
Ashley Sanchez remembers most of her classmates from the now closed Barnard Elementary School. She says one stood out, a boy who was always hungry.
I remember he would bring a lunch bag, but there wasn't really anything in there. So he's looking around and, he sees us eating. And back then I was obsessed with like ham sandwiches and mustard. And I would just give him half, or I would just give him my lunch. My heart instantly broke.
Police and lawyers are combing through evidence, trying to find out what really happened inside the home. In the meantime, Sanchez has this message for her former schoolmate.
Many of his former classmates do still care for him. We are hoping he pushes through and, hopefully he heals fully.
Sullivan plans to plead not guilty to these charges, and she is expected in court again next Wednesday.
Okay, this is very interesting. And of course, we know he'll be called to the stand once trial begins. This is one of the firefighters that was first on scene there and that was inside the home prior to the victim and the stepmother getting out of the home.
We saw on the dispatch board a structure fire coming in and came in, we got ready, and we take great pride in our response time here in Waterbury. And in 49 seconds, actually, we were on the road rolling. We arrived on scene about 2.5 minutes after dispatch to a 2.5-story wood frame building. Front door was open. We walked in. I saw the mother and at the time what I thought was a child in the kitchen. He was in the fetal position in the kitchen, and the mom was. I asked, her, what's wrong with him? She said the fire. I said, where's the fire? She said it's upstairs. I ordered her out of the building. At that time, I had to tell her multiple times to leave, and got her outside. Truck 1 showed up. I talked to Lieutenant Lowe, rather, and said, there's a victim in the kitchen. My guys were stretching a line to the second floor. I joined my guys at the second floor, masked up, and we made an offensive attack to the fire.
So before we talk about the victim, let's talk about the fire. I believe it started in his room. Tell me a little bit about the fire, what you saw, the condition. Just sort of take me through your big first impression.
Right. So my nozzle man stretched his line to the top of the stairs. We masked up at that point. We went onto air. It was a bit smoky there. There wasn't much for visibility. There was fire like straight across the hallway at the top of the stairs. We hit the fire in that room. There was fire coming out the door. We hit that fire and we could still feel heat. And at this point, there's no visibility. I called to open up the building to vent out, the heat and smoke. And it still got hotter and hotter. And at that point, the door opened to the second room, which was inside of that room. And that's where the main bulk of the fire was. And put the fire out there. So it was actually a room that was inside of a room where this victim lives.
And I believe the affidavit says 9 feet by 8 feet or something to that effect.
Right. Yeah. I think it was about 6 by 8, I want to say. Yeah.
So then moving on to, you saw the victim on that bottom floor, crawled up in the wall.
Yeah.
Feel free to just tell me maybe what your reaction was. I know you said you thought he was a child. Just sort of take me through your thought process while this rescue was happening and this fire was going down.
Right. Well, things happen very fast. I said we were on scene within 2.5 minutes. So a lot's going through your head. You're looking at your MDT, you're getting notes, you're looking at where your nearest hydrant is. I radiated to engine 8 to hit the hydrant on Highland Avenue. We came in, found the victim, radioed out, for EMS that we have, a fire victim. It happened. Things happened pretty fast. It was more of a room and content fire. It wasn't really that big of a fire. We're glad that we had a positive outcome.
And were you able to speak with the victim at all?
What's that?
Were you able to speak with the victim at all?
I did not. No, I just checked, make sure he was breathing. He was in no, the visibility, everything was fine in the kitchen on that first floor. So I knew the truck was coming, and we went to work to put the fire out.
So tell me a little bit more about your interactions with her. I mean, would you say she was cooperative on the scene?
Well, I'm sure it was a stressful situation for her, unknowing the circumstances of that evening. But, she had a dog in her arms and she was kind of concerned about her cats. And she's like, my cats. And I had to tell her numerous times, not too nicely to get out. And,
were there any oddities or signs in the house that you kind of noticed, like this is kind of weird, or was it more in 2020, like that wasn't your situation?
Hindsight, you do see all the red flags at hindsight. It is odd that you go to a structure fire and there's people who are capable of walking outside that are still inside the house, and, locks on doors. That was a oddity, especially, and then the room size was obviously they had 2 other big rooms that were basically empty, and it was kind of odd that, why this kid was in this small room.
And then tell me a little bit about your reaction just to sort of learning this as the story comes out, this case develops. What was your reaction to hearing where it has ended up?
Right. I got a text message from a friend in the news story, and I wasn't shocked. I had no idea. It was like a month ago that this fire was, and it was very shocking.
So you guys found out with all of us.
Yeah, yep, and
I'm sure you're quite busy. Waterbury is a big city. Did you remember this fire specifically?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was a cold winter night, and yeah.
So something about it kind of has stuck out for whatever the reason.
Well, I think you remember most of your fires that you go to, and that one, definitely stood out. Yeah.
And then we just talked to the detective in the police department who said, it was really profound that fire, like this victim wanted to escape and turn to the people that could rescue him, which was fire.
Right.
Hearing as this case plays out that was really the turning point for this person.
Right.
Reaction to that?
I think it's pretty incredible. I mean, he put a lot of trust in us. I mean, it could have went the other way and yeah, I'm glad that we were there to make a difference.
I mean, it seems like he responded really quickly. Was there any serious health concerns you could tell, or did you feel like he was gonna make it on this?
My first inkling, seeing him on the ground, I said I thought he was probably 12 to 14 years old, and I reached out. I saw he was breathing. That was my biggest concern. I'm like, all right, and my thought was getting the walking wounded out of the house, and that was it.
And have you guys responded to this house before, to your knowledge?
I haven't. I think other crews went there for I think water in the basement a couple of years ago. Right. Yeah, time does save lives, and fortunately, things lined up tonight. That night. That house is approximately 1 mile north from the fire station. Down a fairly quick road. So that was definitely a factor. As I said, from dispatch to time on scene was 2.5 minutes, which was very good.
Is there anything you'd want the stepson to know? Anything you want to say?
Honestly, I don't even know his name, but I definitely would like to talk to him at some point.
It's kind of eerie when you think about how close this house was to all these first responders, the fire department, the police department, and yet this was going on right there. He's going to be another person who can testify to seeing the locks, obviously, on the doors. So that's good for getting justice here. And also, did you guys hear what he said about the 2 other large rooms in the house? And he was wondering why this man was in this small space. Very interesting.
And you can't imagine. You could sit there and think about it for a really long time, but you're talking about a period of captivity that is really hard to absorb and really understand.
Detective Steve Brunell of the Waterbury Police Department says he can't comment on the body cam video or the 911 call because of the ongoing investigation. He also says he can't go into detail about the man's condition or the help he's receiving, but says he is recovering.
He's got the best, some of the best medical professionals that I've ever really seen on the job caring for him right now.
Brunell has had multiple conversations with the stepson. He says he has a tremendous sense of humor and is great at conversation.
It's his spirit that really kind of sucks everybody in, and you're almost in the presence of like a different being in some way.
Oh, she said that's his personality that sucks you in. Oh, you guys. I can't wait till he's healthy enough to come out and talk about this. And I think it's going to help him to talk about it. They're going to want to interview him as soon as possible, right? Somebody's going, the media is probably already trying to, but I don't know if they'll ask him not to do anything before trial. But it would be good just to be able to get a health update, not necessarily interview him about what happened, but just for him to talk about how he's feeling and all the support he's received. That would be nice to hear from it. It just might be some time before he's ready. And I don't know, he might be kind of, he's been by himself all this time. So it might be overwhelming for him. I didn't think about it from that way until I started talking about this, but he has a lot of people prodding and poking on him right now. And this is probably overwhelming. Although it's helpful, it's probably overwhelming him. God, can you imagine any kind of attention that he's getting? He's probably loves it. At the same time, he's probably, I don't know. I wonder what's in his mindset. I can imagine it can be overwhelming and scary, even still scary. But I would think that they have definitely assured him that she cannot get to him anymore. So he's safe. And that is definitely going to help him come out of his shell. We're going to listen to this 911 call one more time.
Oh my God. It's 2 Blake Street.
What's the address?
Please hurry. It's 2 Blake Street. There's a fire.
Okay.
Oh my God. There's a fire. I'm trying.
Ma'am, what's
2 Blake Street. The TV, I don't know. My son, a stepson is in his room, and I don't know. He did something with the TV. I was sleeping. I fell asleep.
See flames or smoke?
Yes, come on, Steph, come on.
Okay, can you get
Yes, we need an ambulance, please.
Okay,
Please, we need an ambulance.
ma'am, all right, you said something's on fire and now you need an ambulance. What's going on there?
Yes, his room, the TV in his room.
Did he get injured? Is he on fire?
Yes, he's injured. Please send the ambulance.
Ma'am, I'm going to send the ambulance. I need to know what's going on and why they're going
Come on,
out there.
come on.
Where is he injured?
I don't know. He's kind of, I don't know. He's kind of passed out. He's out of it. Please.
Okay, what's your phone number just in case we need to give you a call back? Okay, is the fire out, ma'am?
No, it's not. Please. I'm trying to.
I understand, ma'am. I'm trying to get information on what's going on there.
Oh my God, it's like all the power in the house is out. I don't know if it blew a fuse.
Okay, ma'am, just get out of the house, okay?
Yes, I'm going to call my daughter.
Okay, there you have it, everyone. I think that gets us up to date with what's come out so far in the media. And if anything else does come out, obviously we'll be on top of it, but we will definitely be watching the hearing on March the 26th. And I already have the live stream set up on my channel if you want to go and click that to be notified when we go live. Keep these people in your prayers, and I will see you guys very soon. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and feel free to leave a comment. Have a blessed day.